Welcome back, folks, to the Get a Grip on Lighting Technical Update series. On today's show, we have a couple of returning people, friends of the show, Kelly Gordon and Gabe Arnold. Kelly Gordon has been a program manager at Pacific Northwest National Laboratory for 20 years. She manages the Advanced Lighting Research Program with 24 teams who provide core technical support to the U.S. Department of Energy's Lighting and R&D program. Gabe Arnold is a senior lighting engineer with PNL. He has over 20 years of experience in lighting and energy efficiency industries, improving technology performance and accelerating technology adoption. He is a principal investigator on the advanced lighting team supporting the U.S. DOE's lighting R&D and commercial buildings integration programs, focusing on development and deployment of emerging lighting and building technologies. His current work focuses on germicidal ultraviolet lighting technologies, improving environmental sustainability, and DOE's L Prize competition, which is what we're going to talk about today. That's right, the Gucci suit. We're back with the Gucci suit, Greg Ehrich. But before we get into the Gucci suit from PNL, which we love, we got to thank our sponsor, Cooper Lighting. Go to COOPERLIGHTING.com, Greg Ehrich, cooperlighting.com.
Right, and we talk a lot about exterior lighting, and the importance of it. And you can't just throw any light fixture up there, including in area lights. That makes a difference when you have a good, high-quality light. And Cooper Lighting's Gallium 2 LED area and site Luminaire does set the standard for high-performance outdoor specification lighting. It's the most configurable area site solution available, outstanding performance and scalability for virtually any outdoor walkway, roadway, and parking light application. Its light source, the light square, and drivers are field replaceable, ensuring the Gallium 2 is sustainable solution for years to come.
Watch it, Greg Ehrich. Watch it.
Up to 73,000 lumens in an area light, man. Not a lot of people can do that. You don't just throw any light up there. You got to think about it and do it right, and you can. Check out cooperlighting.com.
So special thanks go out to cooperlighting.com. That's COOPERLIGHTING.com. Gabe and Kelly, welcome back. Not to the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast, but to our technical update series. How's it going, Gabe? Let's start with you. Things are good?
It's going very well. Yeah, everything's good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and Kelly.
Yeah, great to be here. Great to be back and talking about the L Prize.
And I just looked at that, actually, Kelly and Mike. I'll jump in here. I looked at episode 196 from June 2021. We're in August of 2022. That was over a year ago we last talked about the L Prize.
That's right.
Yeah.
I assume
we're on to a whole different phase now.
Okay, that's what we want to hear about. But before we get into that, do you want to just give, again, a quick update on what it is, what the L Prize purpose is, what it's all about? Kelly, Gabe, you can both go, whoever.
Go for it, Gabe.
Yeah, this is a competition that DOE sponsors to develop basically lighting fixtures of the future. This competition, there was a prior L Prize which really focused on replacement lamps, replacement bulbs for incandescents. That was about 10 years ago. That was awarded to Philips Lighting North America for a really innovative 60-watt replacement bulb. And what we've done here is launched a new L Prize which is focused on commercial buildings. And this L Prize actually has 2 tracks to it. That's something we've rolled out with this new second phase, the prototype phase, where manufacturers can participate either in a Luminaire track by submitting a innovative light fixture to us, or in a connected systems track by submitting a innovative lighting control system to us.
Very good. And this is a second phase. What was the first one?
First phase was the concept phase. That one was concluded this past February. We awarded 4 different entries. It was a $20,000 prize. That first phase was really a prize for documented designs. It was really designed to invite in, like students, small innovators, really give them an opportunity to participate. Now we're starting to get real here, and this prototype phase really increases the stakes. We've got a $2 million prize pool for this phase. It's going to be awarded to up to 4 winners. So it's a pretty big deal.
Nice.
$2 million. I think there should be a podcast category. Best podcast, Get a Grip on Lighting.
With
Woo!
those first four, those four winners, can you describe what they were? Like sum up what each one was, just out of curiosity.
Yeah, so there were four winners. One of them was from a startup company called Smash the Bulb, and I guess we got to be a little bit careful in what we talk about because we don't want to give away IP, and they've
Mhm.
submitted to us very specific information about what they're comfortable with us releasing. But one of the innovations with that one that we were really impressed with was that it was a 3D printed commercial luminaire. So this could actually be 3D printed on the job site. That was one. Another one was a lighting fixture from Orion. And this one was really interesting. It was a retrofit troffer. So, it sounds kind of basic, not super interesting. Could be installed in less than 2 minutes. But I think what was innovative, what was really enticing or interesting about that for the Department of Energy was the advanced features that it incorporated, especially from a control and connectivity perspective. It also incorporated some sustainability elements with replaceable LED light bar within it. So, not just something that you've got to throw away at the end or recycle. So that one was pretty cool. We had one called Papaya from a team called Papaya, and this was submitted by some folks outside the lighting industry. It was a student and, believe it or not, someone from the pharmaceutical industry. What was really interesting about this one, and we don't know if it's feasible, but we thought it was very interesting and worth rewarding, was they had proposed a kind of an open source development model. So they would make this luminaire and the IP associated with it available for everybody to use and build on and innovate around. And we thought that was really interesting, and we really liked the idea of pulling in some new ideas and innovation from outside the industry. The fourth winner was from Quarkstar. This is a company that's been around a while. They're fairly small, but they're well known for innovative solutions in the LED lighting industry. This was a really high efficiency luminaire that focused on really exceptional lighting quality, and they had some really advanced optical innovations that they were proposing, which would allow them to really precisely control the direction of light.
Good deal. So with those four concepts, have any of them gotten to the next stage that you know of and actually become a product and something designed?
No, but I think, we're hoping that some of them would submit to our next prototype phase here. We've had, maybe this would be a good point to address this, but we've had some confusion out there. Some folks have been thinking that, you had to participate in this concept phase in order to participate in the prototype and then the final phase of the L prize competition. But actually, these are all like separate competitions. And so anyone can participate in this new prototype phase, including those four that won the prior phase. And we hope to bring in and welcome new participants to this one.
But they should have participated to get that 20 grand.
Yes.
Right. Get to that level.
But it's different skill sets, from moving from concept to prototype, and then the final phase of the contest is planned to be the manufacturing and installation phase. So where you got to really make it real, right? So that's it's gradations of what you can do. So we want innovation, and we want innovation to then move to something real.
So I think you said it, but the prototype phase is going to have another 4 winners. Is that right? Or was that just
up
the
to
concept?
4. Yep.
Up to 4.
Yep, up
okay.
to 4. Oh, I'm sorry.
2 million
I
total.
got that wrong.
It should be up to 6.
It's up to 6.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Up to
Yep,
6.
yep.
2 million total. The final phase is $10 million for up to 4.
And you just split it evenly. Even if one's a little cooler than the other, you're not going to give them a little more.
I would love to be a judge on the panel. I would love to be like a judge on that panel, because I just heard some ideas. I just wrote a couple down when you were talking, just from some of the things. Does the printed guy, does he print the driver as well, or is it just the mechanical shape of the fixture and then he inserts the components?
Just the housing. Yeah.
Just the housing? Okay, the open IP, that's an amazing idea. I think we need to open all the IP. And I think this idea of, the even the controls people, the way they want to, you're not going to be the Google of lighting, okay? We need to share. The opportunity is so enormous. I really like that idea. And then the price precisely control the direction. Was that with mechanical adjustments to a reflector? Or was that actually within the emission of light from the fixture, from the actual diodes?
And I believe it was in the emission of light from the diodes.
Wow, that is so great.
Yeah.
That is such a great innovation to get away from lenses and reflectors in order to be able to, things like darkness restoration or dark skies, and then also using that to replicate the kind of stuff halogen MR16s used to be able to do with really prescriptive tight spots. That's a good innovation. I mean, people may not think about that, but actually from a practical perspective, that last one, precisely controlling the direction, is such a wonderful innovation. Greg, I'll throw it back over to you, though, to ask. And unless, Kelly, you want to comment on that, you haven't talked much yet. So maybe we'll just throw it to Kelly. Go, Kelly.
No, I agree. And this is one of the things about the L Prize that I'm really excited about, is that it's bringing together so many of these different concerns that we've had over the years with LEDs and lighting quality in general, and the potential that we see in the technology. Like at this point, we know solid state lighting, I mean, it can do technically like pretty much anything we would want it to do. You could make it, any spectrum, you could make it, there's lots you could do with directionality and optical control. There's lots you can do with connectivity and kind of data-driven functionality and features in these systems. You can control the light for better application efficiency and great lighting service. The question is, the challenges are more market-based than technology-based, and so we see some persistent market barriers that seem to be kind of holding things back. And one of those is kind of the ability of controls to work with various components of systems with more than one brand, for example. And I think there's great potential that would really increase the market for everyone if we could break through some of those barriers.
So on this prototype phase, you said fixture control. I assume it can be both. Like somebody could make a fixture with cool controls on, and that would qualify, right?
Well, we've actually designed this so there's these two tracks, a fixture track and a control system track, and we've designed it such that any winning system on the connected lighting system track and any winning would be interoperable with any winning Luminaire and vice versa. So it's intentionally designed that way to support interoperability, which I think is kind of a key issue that has challenged this industry in a lot of ways.
Well, it definitely has.
The interoperability thing, like, is there anyone that can just put the hammer down? Is there, like, that's the problem with this. I look at it, and there's such everyone's going into lighting controls, and they want to dominate the market. That's really unrealistic, actually. Even if you got all the customers you could ever dream of or imagine with that system, you would make such a small dent in the existing building stock. It's like there needs to be some sort of set protocol. Is it going to take Google, Amazon, or Apple or Facebook to come in and just say, this is the standard and now you guys all have to pay us? Or is the lighting industry capable of just, Gabe, can you smash heads together? Or Kelly, can you smash some heads together and just say, stop this, or someone else is going to come in and do this for us?
I feel like we've been trying to do that.
It's not our role as DOE, though. We're not setting mandatory standards here. We're really working with the industry to try to improve products and service and efficiency, but we do see this as a major barrier. Ideally for the customer, you would like to be able to have different lights for different functionality and not necessarily all from the same manufacturer, and you would like them to work well together in terms of the control system and the information that's being shared. So again, I do think it would open up the market. Like if people really became confident that, yeah, this is going to work and we're going to get really good lighting controls, and it's not going to be major headaches, that would just increase it for everybody. We're looking for things that will kind of lift all boats here and make the industry more successful and make energy use and lighting quality more successful.
You know, when I look at the lighting control situation, like what a customer wants, right, is the security that other people other than this one company are able to service that those lighting controls, right? Imagine, Gabe, we talked about you. I think I called you the prophet. We talked about low voltage, or not low voltage, DC voltage in applications, and how that could be revolutionary or whatever. But imagine if we were looking at the marketplace and the electricity wasn't 120 or 277 volt to the lighting, and there was like endless different voltages that you could use to power your lighting system, and you just made that choice. Like no one would ever sell a light fixture to anyone, and people wonder why controls won't take off. It's because, in a sense, like imagine if everyone made their light fixtures. My light fixture only works at 208 volts. Mine works at 126 volt. You know, if people change those protocols to be so specific, you would never be able to sell anything to anybody because there isn't like a set standard. We have to come up with a protocol. I don't know who's in charge, Greg. Are we in charge? Get a grip on lighting. They're going to put us in charge. I mean, no. We need like someone's got to step up and handle this protocol thing, this interoperability thing. I don't know who it's going to be, but because it's such a barrier to entry to really seeing that high tide you were talking about that floats all boats, Kelly.
Okay. Go ahead, Gabe.
I think this it's ultimately going to need to come from industry. The analogy I usually like to compare it to is the computer industry. You know, the lighting, it's not like the cell phone industry where you have like an Apple or a Google who can really just dictate how everything's going to be done. The lighting industry is very fragmented, and there's all kinds of players, and it's similar in some ways to the computing industry. And if you can imagine what it would be like if, every, a Lenovo laptop was installed and connected and configured differently from an HP, from an Acer, from all the different ones out there. That's in some ways the situation that we're in with lighting. And what happened in the computing industry is that, ultimately, it didn't happen easily. There was a lot of fights and tension along the way, but ultimately they came together to develop standards and standardized approaches for how things can work together, kind of recognizing the opportunity that's out there when you open the market up. If you can sort of get past the situation where everything connects, we know it's going to work together, then you can move on to the other values and innovate around those things. And I feel in some ways that's where we should go with lighting. And it's ultimately, I think, going to need to come from industry to make that happen. And to date, we're seeing some incremental movements in that direction, but I think it's going to take more time.
We need some sort of a consortium founded on those principles. The other question is ability. Do we have the ability as an industry to do it? I mean, Greg and I sell light bulbs every day, light fixtures, projects. So at this end of the industry, from the distributor end, yeah, we'd love to have something to sell, but we can't get that excited about it. Single source manufacturer, this kind of stuff. It's hard to get excited about that when we're talking to our customers because the benefits aren't always there. I know we're off the L price topic a little bit here. Greg's will bring us back, but I don't want to kind of end this conversation because, I wish everyone in the lighting industry would see that the actual golden goose is the interoperability and an agreed upon standard. That's how we're all going to get rich. That's how everyone's going to make money. Kelly, you were about to say something before I interrupted you. What do you got?
Well, I think I was just going to call on Gabe to kind of explain kind of the approach that we're taking in the L Prize rules and kind of a step towards getting there.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought up this topic because I think that's what we're trying to do with the L price. It's not dropping a hammer, but it's trying to nudge things along and encourage people and offering big rewards for it. You know, what's going to happen at the end of this is uh, after we award these winners is that you know the Department of Energy intends to really uh, work to deploy and support these innovations and really educate stakeholders, customers, buyers around them. So I think we're hoping that it is a vehicle that we're going to be able to help move along this issue. It's not solving everything. You know, we're not forcing standardization in all aspects with it, but there are certain places where we are really trying to push this interoperability with the L prize.
Mike asked earlier to be one, but do you guys actually say who the judges are?
No, we
No,
don't.
it's actually confidential, and they're not allowed to say that they're a judge either.
Maybe Mike are you one,
No.
Mike? Maybe I don't even know that. Okay.
If he is, he's not allowed to say.
I'll guarantee you, I'll say that I'm for sure not a judge. So don't send me any emails about your prize because I have no influence whatsoever. That's for sure. Nor should
so
I,
what-
likely.
So what kind of time frame is this prototype phase now for? When's it open?
It's open.
So this opened.
Yeah. Oh, it just opened in June 30th, and the entries will be due May 1st of next year.
We got time then. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why you
And
cooking
in
something
flies,
up
though.
there?
What's that?
I was $333,000 potential here is what I see.
I know. I know.
It depends on how many awards too. It's
Okay,
up to 6 awards. Yeah.
I got a question. Okay, so the L prize is out there. There's definitely, cash and prestige and status because you win a prize from PNNL, you win the L prize. That's a nice prize. Like that might be the best prize you can win in the lighting industry. Let's face it. There isn't a higher one, right?
From DOE, I should say.
From the DOE, yeah. I mean, that's you can't. That's a Gucci suit right there, right? I mean, there's listen, the Paul Hafner Award at Nailed is great. The Gary Root Award at Nailed is great, but I think the L Prize is a couple of notches up, right? So, but what are the barriers? Like, what are the reasons people give? Actually, I never even asked this question. What are the reasons people give for not doing interoperability? Like, where are the pain points for? Because we're criticizing, we don't make lighting control systems, Greg. Gabe Arnold and Kelly Gordon don't make lighting control systems. We're kind of standing on the sideline saying, hey, we think you're in the wrong field. You need to be over here or whatever. But what are the pain points for these lighting control system creators or companies? Have they said anything, Gabe, about why they don't want interoperability?
It's a tricky question and it's complex, and I don't know that the reasons they don't do it is always said publicly. I can say a couple of reasons. One is that a lot of companies have invested significantly into the legacy systems that they're currently selling. So if you were talking about asking them to change to some standardized approach, that's potentially meaning they're going to have to change what they've built already significantly. And so then what happens to all the customers out there that have installed that system? And so that's a really tricky situation that I know is contributing to it. We've also heard a little bit around some companies don't feel like the standards that are available right now provide all the functionality and capabilities that they think they need to really be able to do some really cool advanced and innovative stuff. Maybe it doesn't have the bandwidth. Maybe it doesn't have all the data that's needed. And you see this manifesting itself in a lot of different ways. We have a lot of companies out there that are marketing a Bluetooth low energy solution, not full qualified Bluetooth mesh, but a Bluetooth low energy solution. But actually, what a lot of them have done there is they've taken the Bluetooth low energy and then they've built upon it some proprietary changes to it. So those are effectively now proprietary protocols they're using that don't necessarily support interoperability, and they've done it because that old Bluetooth low energy standard that they had didn't provide everything they needed and didn't work well enough in buildings, and so all of a sudden they're invested in that proprietary solution. So can they come back? So yeah, those are definitely a couple of issues that are contributing.
And related to that, I mean, each company wants to ensure that they can make their system work really well. So they, it is a risk. It's kind of like, there's back and forth needed, some cooperation across the industry to get to something that will work well. But I think there's such great potential for this market. I mean, if you look at just kind of traditional lighting controls, they've been around for ages, for 30 years or something, but there's still such low market penetration of lighting controls in commercial buildings, right? And some of that is because people don't, they don't tend to work flawlessly. People kind of have that idea about how it's like the aux sensor doesn't work. I got to wave and the lights turn off, and or they cover up the photo sensor because it's bothering them, the up and down of the light. So, that dream of kind of seamless, really great performing lighting control is still out there. I think it's achievable. It could make spaces somewhere that you really want to be, that you really like, between the color and the light levels and the directionality of the lights. These could become favorite spaces for people while being very energy efficient and using the resource in the best way. But we got work to do, and so that is what we're going after here.
I'm gonna get sacrilegious here. I don't know if this is a lighting play. I don't know if the lighting industry has the knowledge workers in its stable of workers to be able to pull this off. I just think we just had Axel Pearson. I almost said Axel Meyer, but Axel Pearson and Michael Meyer on the last show talking about full build integration with lighting being a part of that. And I think the fire control panel people and the security people and the HVAC people might be a couple miles ahead of the lighting industry in terms not only of the equipment, but in terms of the actual use of the equipment on site, and then the ongoing maintenance of that equipment on a regular basis. Like mechanical contractors go to the elevators and the escalators and the HVAC control systems all the time they're in buildings. Lighting people are not in buildings. The contractor installs the system and then they call Greg and Michael to ship them the light bulbs they need. And nobody's really there on site. Maybe it's better for the lighting industry just to step back and say, you know what, we're out of our power zone here. We need help. Instead of setting up a committee or a coalition or a consortium of lighting distributors, we need the lighting industry to set up a coalition with the HVAC industry and the fire control panel guys. Like fire control is pretty sophisticated. Fire panels, like even prior to anything Bluetooth or digital, those guys were deep into buildings with communicating with devices. I mean, you ever seen a fire panel, Gabe? I mean, those things on a huge building, that's an enormous thing that it's all wired up with that cable, and they get all manner of different singles back. A lot of them run on 16 bits with hundreds of thousands of different commands, going back to the 80s and stuff like that. So
yeah, maybe. I mean, the lighting industry could hand this off to other industries, but they could also adopt what those other industries are doing. And I think there's a ton of benefits to a service-based approach to lighting. Assuming, of course, people value that and are willing to pay for it. But as these lighting systems continue to get more and more complicated, does it really make sense that regular electricians would be able to maintain all those lighting systems, or should we have really service-oriented people that are experts on operating and maintaining lighting systems, actually dedicated to that role? And to take this back to the L Prize, if you go to the last phase of the competition, you can actually earn points if your installation is done under an innovative business model that includes things like operating and maintaining and optimizing the lighting system over time, like a service type contract, like a lighting as a service type model.
I don't think lighting as a service is the model, but I think what I was talking with Michael and Axel the other day, and it hasn't gone out yet, so you guys wouldn't have been able to see this. What part of the conversation was this emergence of these control integrators as like a separate, unique trade that's not an electrician, it's not an HVAC contractor. It's like a controls integrator, and that person is possibly a software developer along with a configurer and commissioner of various types of controls. And then if you're a university student listening to this, or college student or whatever, if you can find this path, this is going to be in demand. I don't know about next year, but definitely in 10 years, people are going to be looking to pay a lot of money for people who know how to configure and control building system controls remotely from a computer and make middleware. I mean, the host, we're putting on a podcast, a separate complete show in about a month called the Lighting Controls Podcast. And it's hosted by Webster Marsh and Ronald Kuzmar. And Ron is one of these guys. He controls lighting systems from his computer remotely and reconfigures them in the field. That is not, there's no association for those guys. They don't fit into NAILD. They don't fit into NALM. Maybe they fit into NALMCO a little bit. They don't fit into AILA. They don't fit into NEMRA. All these areas, they don't fit in. But that is going to be a huge emerging trade for young people that are coming into their careers to maybe say, you know what? Can I become one of these people? You're going to get paid a lot of money. I guarantee it. If you know how to do that, I don't know if you're going to be hired by a lighting company, Gabe, or if you're going to be hired by an HVAC company. But if you know how to do that, to work with these different controls and then make the two systems work together, that is really a bonanza for young people looking to enter into the lighting business, or whatever we're going to call this, controls integrators business. I mean, I don't know how to say, but I think that's really important, Gabe. Or Kelly.
No, I agree. And I think that's one of the exciting things about this, where we are in this industry. Obviously, we've been now for the last 15 or so years really coming to grips with the solid state revolution in lighting. It's caused a ton of changes in the lighting industry. It's been exciting. It's been hard times for some of the industry, and it is challenging, and there's this whole workforce aspect to it too. It's things are going to have to evolve, but we see some pretty interesting opportunities, like you say, and that has to develop over time. Kind of the next generation of professionals coming along who are going to be working in buildings, and you're going to need those people that know how to make the systems work together. You're going to need cybersecurity on everything, so that's a whole other skill set and a need for buildings and managing risk. So in addition to just the person who traditionally just changes the light bulb, you're going to need far different skills. But it's like everything else, you used to just turn on your TV, right? And you watch network television, and now it's like you go to your TV and you end up calling your kid because it's like, how do I get to Apple Plus, whatever, right? So it's, we need new skills.
How do I turn it on? Okay. Never mind that. How do I turn this thing on? So, every time we talk to PNNL, which, I mean, you got to put PNNLs at the bleeding edge, that you guys have the resources and the people to really explore these topics in depth in a way that really nobody else does, which is, I think, why you exist, right? That's why you're out there, and DOE's out there, because you guys are doing these things. And we seem to keep defaulting back to this controls integrator job or company or something. And it just keeps coming back up that we need these kinds of people that can do this. And so I'm going to encourage companies and people listening to this, and also associations like NAILD, Greg. We have a board meeting tomorrow. We got to talk to them. We need to do a training program for this, or what? Because it just always comes up whenever we talk to folks like you. I'm going to change gears, though, Greg, if that's okay. I want to talk a little bit about circadian. and health effects and this, Gabe, is there anything in the L price? Is there anything standing out there that you guys, because you're not, you guys are looking at what's out there. You're looking at the research. You're looking at things. Has anyone been awarded anything for the productivity improvements, the health outcomes, that kind of game? Or Kelly, I don't know which one of you wants to tackle this one, but is there anything out there for that?
It's not specifically addressed in the L prize because it's very hard to. I would say it's still very much an area of research, and so we, how would you award something that, a project that improved productivity? It's something that we obviously want to know more about. We want to get more evidence about, and the research that's going on in the health sector, senior care, offices to some extent, but the whole office business has changed drastically in the last couple of years for obvious reasons, but other workplaces as well. I think we're very interested in the human impacts of light and how the lighting in the space, as I was saying, how it can go from just being a space to being one of the spaces that you really like, and you like being there, and you like doing your work there, and it helps support that. But we wouldn't have certain requirements or thresholds to set, for a contest like this. So it's not right for this program. But I'll assure you that it's something that we as researchers are continuing to look at. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Gabe.
I'll just get a little bit more specific on health circadian benefit. That's really an application issue. It's not so much associated with just a single luminaire, and so that's another one of the reasons that we didn't really address it specifically within the L Prize. But I will say that there are places within the L Prize where you can highlight innovations to the judges and earn some points. There's a category for innovations that would increase the value proposition, which would therefore support the increased adoptability of the solution. And so this is a place where you could highlight any innovations in this area that you wanted to call out for the judges. The other thing that we've done is we're requiring that if a luminaire is submitted to the L Prize, that it has the testing and data provided with it that would be needed to do circadian lighting design. And so, specifically, you need to be able to provide spectral power distribution data and less than 5 nanometer increments, which is really what you need to do that kind of design. So it's not ignored, but it's addressed indirectly.
So bouncing around like we like to, just back to that L Prize. How many do you share the number of entries you get per phase, or is that secret info?
I don't know, Gabe, do you share it?
That. I don't think we have, but
yeah, I'm just curious
I don't think there's a problem with telling you on the the concept phase had 14 entries and 4 awards.
Oh, okay, good. No, that's what I'm curious if there's more, if everybody gets an award, or I assume at some point it doesn't, but yeah, with the amount of money involved. But and there's
participation award, yes.
Yeah, right. Get a badge for doing it. So the specifics of this next phase, is there anything that you want to share with the audience that they need to know if they are interested in doing this?
I'm going to go, Kelly. Well, yeah. I think we really want to encourage people to enter this thing. I think it's a fantastic opportunity to work with the Department of Energy and get your innovation and creativity out there, to be recognized for it. In addition to winning prize money, there are a lot of different pathways that you could take to win this. There's sort of like a set of baseline requirements. You got to be at least 150 lumens per watt. You've got to provide pretty good light quality and demonstrate it through testing and metrics. But then there's all these optional areas where you can earn extra points, and that's really going to determine what wins this thing. On the Luminaire side, there are points that can be earned for aesthetics and form factor, points that can be earned for making it more affordable, or improving the value proposition. There's a bunch of points that can be earned for sustainability innovations and supporting circular economy or using less harmful materials. There are points that can be earned for diversity, equity, and inclusion in your team, where you can demonstrate that, or in how you're proposing to deploy your solution into the market. So there's all kinds of different pathways, and we really want to encourage all the companies that are out there, that we know are out there, that have innovations they're working on in these areas, to enter this contest. And we'd love to work with you. We'd love to get you recognized and get that prize money to you.
Well,
absolutely. I will echo. I'll just echo that. Thank you, Gabe. Well said.
Okay. Well, it's such an interesting idea. I have a couple people that I'm actually going to recommend that they should. I'm not going to say who, but I think they should submit a what would you call it, an application? I guess an application to win the L prize. I just was a couple the wheels were turning, and I'm going to make a recommendation that they do so, because there's some of the categories you mentioned there. It's interesting, the sustainability piece. That's a good one in there. To think about, okay, how long is the actual life cycle of this Luminaire, its potential life cycle? Does it have to be replaced when the LED array or the driver burns out? I really like the fact that it includes that. But, I think, Greg, I can't believe we already spoke for 41 minutes. I'm just looking at the clock here. I can't believe it. And we're talking about a prize. So there you go. But it's always fun and exciting. Do you have any final thoughts before we go to and thank our sponsor, Cooper Lighting? I'll go first to Kelly.
No, I just really appreciate the opportunity for us to come back and talk about this phase of the L Prize. It does take it up another step. We'll be talking about actual hardware and software that will be coming in. So we'll get an entry in. There's a written application and then actual equipment that will be shipped to us. We'll be looking at in a lab. The reviewers will be able to see it up close and see how it works. So I think that's going to be very exciting. And as Gabe said, we really want to see the innovation that we know this industry is capable of, and we want to recognize that and call it out. Thank you.
Gabe.
I'll tell your friends, tell everybody. I think that's the big message. We want people to know about this opportunity. There's people are being bombarded with information. It's summertime. Everyone's out there having fun, and we want to make sure this gets out to people in time for them to participate and submit an entry. So
and the deadline is
May
2023.
May 1st.
May 1st, 2023. There's an intent to submit form that's due in January. So we want to know whether or not you're going to participate in January.
So you got lots of time, folks. Greg, before we sign off here, I want to say thanks to our sponsor, Cooper Lighting. Go to COOPERLIGHTING.com, baby. What do you got?
That's right. When you look at their Galleon 2 area light, it's not like every other one out there. There's 16 high efficiency ACU LED optics, 16 different optics. A lot of them just say one. Here's your area light. With this one, you can choose 16, 3,300 lumens up to 73,500. So that's a huge range. And again, there's not a lot of companies that have that. 22K up to 57K, everything in between. -40 up to 50 degrees Celsius high ambient temp. IP66, 3G vibration rating. Anything you need specification grade, they've got. Galleon 2.
That's a heck of a lot of lumens, folks. If you made it to the end, on the technical update series here, if you're listening to the stream, we hope you liked it. It's streaming everywhere, so I don't know where you're listening to it. It could be on many of the wonderful channels who's invited us to stream with them and to have it out there for you to watch and listen. And we have a special thanks to Cooper Lighting and, of course, Gabe Arnold and Kelly Gordon from PNNL. But if you made it all the way to the end here, Greg and I love you guys. Bye for now.